Hello students, welcome to the Python series. In the previous video, we have seen the while loop construct. In this video, we are going to cover up the looping construct for loop. Before getting into the for loop, we need to understand about a function range. This range function creates a list containing arithmetic progression. Arithmetical progression means a list of numbers are produced starting from a particular value, then based on a step value or common difference, it is generating each values in the list and till it reaches a terminating point. So this range function can be used for producing an arithmetical progression. It has three arguments: start, stop and step value. Then this step value is optional. Start means from which value we need to start. Stop value means it is the terminating point. The last value will be lesser than this stop value. Then step value means how much we need to increase each time. So using this we can generate a list of values. These arguments all are just integers. Let's see, if you are not giving the step value, if you are omitting the step value, it is optional. If you are not giving that, then the step value will be default taken as 1. Then you can omit the start value also. If you are not giving the start value, then the default value will be 0. It starts from the value 0. Each time the new value will be selected like this. First the start value, then second value will be formed by adding the step value to the start value. So start plus step. Next will be start plus 2 into step. Like that it will carry on. It will find each value. Then this step value can be positive or negative. If the step value is positive, then the last element is last element will be less than the stop. Last element will be less than the stop. And you can give a negative value also to the step. And if it is a negative value, then the last element will be greater than step. It is moving. If you are giving negative number, it will move backward. If you are giving positive number, it moves forward. If you are giving negative number, it moves backward. So based upon the situation, you can give positive or negative. Then step value can never be 0. Now let's see some examples. Here range 10. Here start value and the step value both are missing. If the start value is not given, it will be taken as 0. And if the step value is not given, it will be taken as 1. So it starts from 0 and step value is 1 by default. So it is increased by 1, then again increased by 1. Like that it will continue till it reaches a value less than 10. Less than 10 it is 9. So the terminating value is the 9. So this is how it forms if both the arguments are missing. Now let's look at the second case, range 1, 11. There start value and terminating value is given, but the step value is missing. So step value is 1, start value is 1. So it starts from 1, step value by default it is 1, so it becomes 2, then it becomes 3, like that it will continue till it reaches a number less than 11. The number less than 11 is 10, so it continue till 10. So this is how it works if the step value is only not mentioned. It starts from the value given by the start value. Now third example, range 0, 30, 5. So it is starting from 0. Here step value is also given. Terminating value is 30. So it starts from 0, then incrementing by 5. So it is 5, then again 10, 10 plus 5, 15, 15 plus 5, 20, and 20 plus 5, 25, and the terminating value is 30. So the value less than that is 25. So it stops here. Now next case also, here the step value is 5. So next case, It is range 0, 10, 3. It is starting from 3. Step value is, no, sorry. It is starting from 0. Step value is 3. So 0 plus 3, 3, 6, then 9. Then it crossed this 10. So it stops here. So this is how it executes. You can give a negative value also. If you are giving a negative value, what will happen? See, I am giving a negative value for this step, -1. Okay, so it moves backward. Starting from 0, 1 minus, that means 0 plus -1, that becomes -1. -1 plus -1, -2, like that it will continue. And the last value will be greater than -10. So the last value is -9. So this is how it works if we are giving a negative value for the step. And look at this one, range 0. Start value is not there, step value is not there. End value is 0. So it is an empty list. Then in this case also range 1, 0. It must start from 1 and the end value is 0. So how such a list possible? So that is also empty. Now look at this last range function 10, 0, -2. Here's the step value is -2. It starts from 10 and 10 minus 2, that is 8. 8 minus 6, like that it continue, and the last value is terminating value, stop value is 0. So the value greater than that is 2. So this is how it works. This is the range function. All possibilities we have covered. Now let's come to our for loop. For loop is starting with the keyword for, all in small letters, then a variable, then in keyword, and then you have to mention a sequence, then the full colon. Then the statements of that comes in the for loop can be written here after this for. Then optional else statement is there as in the case of while loop. So how it works? Let's see this example. Loop for printing 1 to 10. So for I in range 1, 11, 1. So it starts from 1. 1 is displayed. Now after displaying this, it becomes 2. 2 is also displayed, like that it reaches 10. 10 is displayed, then it turned to 11. At that time it stops the loops. So this will be the output of this for loop. So it's very simple. Then let's see some more examples. Here for num in range 5, 9. So the start value is 5. So 5 will be printed. 5 is given. Next it becomes 5. Step value is not given. So it is 1. By default it is 1. So it turned out to 6. 5, 6. Then 7. Then 8. And next is the stop value 9. So it prints from 5, 6, 7, 8. Next example for num in range 5, 11, 2. Here step value is given, that is 2. It starts from 5. 5 becomes 5 plus 2, it becomes 7. Then it becomes 9. And next is 10, 11. 11 is not possible. So this is the output. Here print will move to the next element to the next line. Here there is a slight difference in this. Here we are producing a sequence using the range function. In this case we are not using the range. Instead of that we are giving a list. This list contains a list of strings. That means list of names here. So for name in Ramesh, so that means each time it will take one by one, Ramesh, then Suraj, and then Priya. That 3 values will be printed here. This is how the for loop works. Then you can give here in last example we have given for produce a sequence of numbers. Then after that we have given a list. You can give it to a tuple, or you can given a list dictionary. All type of string or anything is possible. Let's see an example with the string and also the else part. For letter in Python, this is a string. Then print current letter, then you are printing the each letter by letter. So this is the sequence here. So each time it will take P, then Y. So P, Y, T, H, O, N, all are displayed and the sequence comes to an end. At that time, it will execute the else part. So else will be executed if all the elements of the sequence completed. In that case, it will execute the else part. So in this output, you can see a coming out of loop message also will be displayed. Now let's see another example. Here a for loop is there and within that a while loop is there. So it is an example of nested looping. For a while loop within a for loop. So here it is just a program to print a multiplication table of 1 and 2 only for demonstration purpose only. So it is just 1 and 2 only and up to 5 only, 1 into 1 etc, 1 into 5 only. So let's see how it works. N is taken. If you want to make changes to this program, you can increase this value of n. Then you can produce the output as you wish. Then n is 2. Then we are starting a for loop and for loop variable, control variable is I in range 1 comma n plus 1. That means I want the multiplication table of 1 and 2. So this is the terminating value. So I made it 1 plus 2, that is 3. Then another loop we are using. For that we are using a variable j. So j is starting from 1. Then j condition is j less than 6. That means up to 5 it will go. And each time j is incremented. And the print value, the multiplication table is printed in this way. I asterisk sign j equals I into j. So the product will be displayed using this statement. So each time the product is calculated and displayed and then it increments j. So j loops from 1 to 5. Then if it turned to 6, when it turns to 6, at that time the while loop ends and it comes out and there is a print there. That's why there is a space here. Now after that it goes back to the for loop and increments the value of I turned out to 2. Then again the same process happens and the multiplication table of 2 will be displayed and when it turned out to 6 it stops. Inner loop stops and then it goes back to for loop and I turned out to 3. At that time it reaches the terminating point, so it stops the loop. At that point it stops the loop. If you want to make any changes, you can just make the value. If you want the complete 5 to 10, you can simply make the change. I will just make a small change. I want to produce, this is the program, I want to produce the full program. That means 1 to 10. Okay, instead of 1 to 5, I made the change 11 here. Okay, instead of 6, I made it 11. That means up to 10 it will loop. 1 into 10, up to that it will be displayed. And I want the multiplication of 3 also. So I made this n as 3. Let's execute this program. Then you can see the 1 multiplication of 1, then 2, then 3. So in this way, if you want to make some change, you can. Then another example where we are inserting a for loop within the while loop. So we are making a pattern like this using numbers. Here a while loop is here. Within this while loop we are using a for loop. So this is the outer loop and this for loop, this is the inner loop. So here a variable I is there, which is the control variable of this while loop. I is 6. Then the condition is I greater than or equal to 0. So at that point, here j is incremented from 1 to I. I is 6, so it moves from 1 to 5. When it becomes 6, it goes out of the inner loop. In this way, it is displaying 1 to 5. Then I becomes 5. At that time, it displays 1 to 4. And when it becomes 5, it goes out of this loop, inner loop. In this way, it continue till it becomes I equals 2, then j is 1, and when it becomes 2, it goes out of the inner loop, also will be stopped, and then I becomes 1. When I becomes 1, 1 is definitely greater than or equal to 0, that is true. Then it comes to the inner loop, inner for loop. Here j in range 1 comma 1 will happen, 1 comma 1. So terminating value is also 1. So it starts from 1 and terminating value is 1. So 1 can't be there. So it can't, the inner loop can't proceed. So it will stops at this point. I equals 1 itself, it stops the loop. It never goes for I equals 0. At that time, the inner loop stops executing, and then I becomes 0, and there also nothing will happen. So this is how this pattern is produced. So you can write a for loop within a while loop or while loop within a for loop. Both are possible. Now let's see the equivalence of both these loops. In what situation you use the for loop and in which situation we use the while loop. If you know the sequence, how many times it will be executed, and if there is an initial value and a step value, everything is clear, it is better to go for the for loop. Otherwise, if you don't know the exact iteration number, then definitely while loop you can use. Depending upon the situation, both loops can be used. If you are, see, for a for loop, there is a placeholder for everything. Initial value, there is a place. Definitely limit for there is a n value, there is a space. And for step value also, there is a space. So, it is very structured way. But when we look at the while loop, if you want to initialize something, you have to given that before this while loop. Before that, you need to give the initial value, and the terminating value you can give within this while loop. Then step increment or decrement need to be done in the while loop explicitly. Within the while block, you have to do that. Otherwise, it becomes an infinite loop. This is for loop is useful when we produce a sequence or we are traversing through a list or tuple or dictionary, and this any type of variations can be possible in the while loop. Okay, so that's all about the comparison, and we have covered up both the loops in a. Let's summarize the whole thing. Range is used for generating a series. Then for loop, it's used for iterating over a sequence. You can traverse through the list or dictionary or whatever it may be. And you can nest both these loops. You can write for loop within a while loop or while loop within a for loop. Then when we have seen the equivalent way of writing this for loop and the while loop. That's all in this video. In next video, we will cover up the programs coming using this for loop and while loop. That's all. Thank you.